Hello, Algebra 1 students. I'm looking at the Chapter 4 test. This is not due, I don't think, until Friday. Let me make sure on that. Algebra 1 online, yeah, due Friday. So this is due 12/18. Okay. All right, I'm going to read through this and hopefully give you a little bit of clarification and a little bit of guidance on this. So for number 1, sketch a graph to represent the situation and label each section. Number 1, the average temperature increases throughout the months of April, May, and June. A suggestion would be to use the temperatures 50, 60, 70, just so you know, in case you didn't know. I bet the averages are around there somewhere. So the average temps are going to go here on your y-axis, and you could use April, May, and June on your x-axis, and then you're going to want to graph this, okay? What do you think happens to the average temperatures as we go through April, May, and June? Okay, you're either going to draw something declining, inclining, or staying the same, or something. So you provide that. This is a test. Make sure you're pausing this as we go forward, because I'm going to just go through it, and you're going to need to pause it as you need time to answer these. For each table, just for this table, determine whether the relationship is a function, and then represent the relationship using words in an equation. Well, I'm reminding you while looking at this, for each term x, what happens to get y? So from here, the input, to here, the outputs, what happens, okay? Now, what's interesting here is we have x at 0 and y 2. So this is actually a y-intercept here. Okay, so your y-intercept, that's going to help you come up with the equation. And then think about this, this is going to be the slope. So in this one, it's how much it goes down. So it's going to be a negative slope. So how much is it going down each time? With each x value, and they're just by ones here, it goes down how much? So that's going to be a negative number here. So you're going to have y equals whatever that difference is, x, and then you're going to have plus whatever that y-intercept is, and you got it right there. For number 3, each set of ordered pairs represents a function. Write a rule that represents the function. So, in other words, how does each x value change to create the y value? So, if you look at these first two might not make sense, even this one, but when you look at 3 and 4, how does the 3 become a 9? And how does the 4 become a 16? What happens to it? And that's what you're going to put with this x, okay? So you're going to start with y equals x, and then there's going to be something else with this x. What happens to each x in order for it to become, or to reflect the y, okay? For it to, have the y change as it does with each term, okay? Here you're writing a function rule to represent each sentence. 20 more than 1/2 of x is y. So, more than, remember that's going to be plus. 1/2 of means times, is equals. Use all that information in order to come up with just an equation. Basically, you're translating this from verbiage into mathematical equation. Same thing with number 5. You're going to change this into just this verbiage into a mathematical equation. So 9 less than the product of a number q and 5 is r. Make sure this 9 less than comes after the product of a number q and r. So q and 5, q and 5 product means you're just going to multiply them. Okay, you're multiplying the q and the 5. You just write them next to each other. That means multiplication. And then 9 less than it is going to be minus 9. And then that's going to be equals to your r. All right. For number 6, identify the domain and the range of the relationship. Domain are going to be all your x values. The range is going to be all your y values. Okay, so you pick out your x values, pick out your y values. That's your domain and range. For number 7, find the range of each function for the given domain. All you're going to do is plug in these numbers each time for your x value. So this negative 1 is going to be a positive 1, because negative times a negative 1 is going to be 1 plus 5. So your first range number is going to be 6. And then you're going to have negative 1 plus 5. And then you're going to have negative 3 plus 5, and then negative, and so on. Do the same thing for number 8. Plug in these numbers, cube them, and then add a 2. A little hints on your calculator for this, so you don't have to, waste time doing, not waste time, but spend a lot of time plugging it into your calculator. If you, in parentheses, put your domain values. So negative 2 is my first one, right? So I put in negative 2. All right, and I'm cubing it, right? So I use the up button, that up button right there. Makes it look like that. And it's a 3, right? And then I have plus 2, okay? So my first range number is going to be negative 6. All I have to do now is go and use the back button and change that negative 2 to a negative 1. And then all I have to do now is hit equals, and I'll get the second number that's going to be in my range, okay? Then you just keep using the back button in order to do those problems, so you don't have to type it all in again. For the rest of this, for the second half, for 9 and on, I'm going to, because there's a lot to explain and read, I'm going to do that in a part 2, because it just takes so long to upload these. So look for part 2 for 9 on.